On this episode of Flip My Ride, I learned to knock out some dents, bog some holes, and get to panel beating on this old girl. Stay tuned. So yes, as you all know, I have been putting off working on the panels of the Ningy Nugget, the Toyota Hilux. I've gone and bought some relevant equipment to start on the panels, and to be honest with you, it's not that bad, the panels that you can see. Just there's some rust issues, as we know, in the floor and on the sills. The bonnet's dead straight. There's only a few little dents in the panels and the doors. I'm going to try and tap those out myself. It shouldn't be too much with that kind of stuff. The tub that we've had sitting in the backyard, if you remember, I picked that up and put it out the back. I did start work on it. I've done the underside of the tub, and I've started to sand the tub, but then discovered it had been skim coated in places to probably take out any little ripples. In general, the tub's very good. It's just a large surface area to tackle, whereas here I can pull these panels off one at a time and have a go at them. I'm going to experiment with a panel firstly. I'm going to pull it off, and we're going to sand it, and then we're going to use a rattle can to see how that goes initially. Without blabbing on too long, let's get started. I have already started to knock some of the dents out of this particular panel, and I'm pretty happy with it. Just using some basic tools, very cheap dolly kit it's called. Putting this up under the panel and then tapping the raised areas of the panel with force coming in from behind the panel. I think that's called off dolly. There's on dolly. There's all these terms. Yeah, I've already started on this panel. Now I'm going to try and take it off, bog up the bits that I can't quite get out, see if I can get them a little better, and we'll sand that back. We'll give it a nice undercoat, I guess. Then we'll use the top coat and see how it looks. Let's do it. To take the guard off, we need to remove the front left indicator and then also all the bolts holding on the guard. And I wasn't being a fool here, trying to make it look a bit rude and raunchy. The indicator was absolutely fried and basically welded on with rust. All right, I had to fight it a little bit. The aerial was just completely, and it's going to need some hitting too. The aerial was just completely rusted out, so I had to grind it to cut it and get it off. But let's put this aside and start cleaning it and working on knocking out the rest of those dents. Like we've got just one here, a little bit around the area looks a bit stuffed as well. Let's have a go. So now that we've taken it off, see if we can maybe use the dolly. Oh, bog, 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 bog. Bog. So I've been at that for an hour or so on one panel. Got it reasonably good. I don't know what they did prior, but I'm not going to go right back to bare metal. I'm only going to do it where the dents are. So far we've sanded all of it with like a 120 and a 240 grit. But these are my dent areas. They're the low spots. It's quite bumpy through here, so I'm going to run a skim of filler there, especially here I can fill a hole. And maybe a little high there too, I'm not sure, but I'm going to leave it and fill it and shape it. Same here, and then same on this side. So these are where the dents were. I've tapped them out, and now I've got high and low spots. So what I'm going to try and do is just sand a little more out of the low spots, skim it with some bog. Same here, where are we? Same here. Let it dry and then sand it again. And then come up to like a 600 grit sand on the whole thing. Then we're going to use some primer filler, sand that back if we see any bad spots, and then we'll try the rattle can. So it's probably going to take me a bit of time just to do one panel. That's my first batch. Mixed it up a little too strong and it went off too fast, so I'll have to use less hardener. We've just gone over all those little patches, so we'll let that harden up and sand it up. Try it again. Just done our first sand, cross hatching both ways. We've still got a couple of low spots I missed. There's another low spot just here. That's all right there. I'm happy with that, happy with that. We've got to top this up a little more. A little bit of a hollow there, and I've found a couple of little dimples there. And most of that's pretty good. A couple of low spots there. So see where the paint hasn't gone. So we're going to sand that back to metal, and we're going to put a bit more bog over that. A little bit on this, and maybe a little bit on this divot here. The rest of that feels pretty good. Just the tiniest bit of this stuff, because yesterday I just spewed out. No aerial on this side, thank goodness. There we go. Next guard off.
Once I was happy with the guard's shape and feel, I decided it was time to do the primer or the undercoat. Firstly, we wipe it down with some wax and grease remover. Then we start to apply the primer. Now, I was told because I did get to bare metal, I should have used an etch primer. I didn't. We'll see how the guard fares, but from now on, I will be using an etch primer when I get it to bare metal.
Righto, I have painted that first one and it looks great, but there's a couple of spots that I'm going to have to sand again because with the paint on it, now I can see that I didn't take enough off with the filler yesterday. Let's have a look. It's probably hard to see, but just here, I've got a little bit of a raised spot. So I'm going to have to sand that back again and prime it again. I'll use a bit of wet and dry, I think. First coat is on. Light dusting, don't go too heavy on the first coat, otherwise she might run. Now we've got to wait an hour and then come back down and give it another hit. We'll see in an hour. After the first dusting, I'm going to give it a light sand. Then wipe it down, wax and grease remover, and I should have a tack cloth, but I don't. I'll get one during the week. This will also help get any of the lumps and bumps out from the first couple of coats with the undercoat. You think you got it done and then you see spots, eh? All right, I've run out of rattle cans. That's had 2-3 coats, nice wet coat. The last couple of coats are nice and wet. This one I just missed out on getting it done. I'm not going to crack the hardener today because once you crack these, you have a limited time because it's got a 2-part mixture. So I'm not going to do that today. So I'm not going to do any more on this until I get some more yellow. Yes, I'm still going to do rattle can. The back of the Lux, the tub, that'll actually be sprayed properly. I have to get some more yellow and then spray and then hardener. So today I'm going to try and dampen down the dust a little bit more. I've had a delivery come of a lot more yellow. I've got another 8 cans now. Hopefully that'll be enough to do the panels and the body. So I will attempt to do it a little bit more better today. I mean, what I've done looks pretty good, but I'm going to do a little more dust mitigation, and we're going to give it a light sand in between. Because I've run out of the other stuff, because I've got the new paint that was delivered earlier, I'm not going to just paint one panel and leave this one. I'm going to skim, because I ran out, remember? I did 3 coats on the left panel here, and then I just started painting this and I ran out. So I'm not going to just start on that panel, because that yellow that I've got might be slightly different. And I don't want it to look funky. So I'm going to lightly sand that. I'll lightly sand this again. We'll clean it all down, prep it up, and then we're going to use the new cans and do another coat on that, and maybe 2 quick coats on this one. Just a little bit light down here. And then hardener. We'll see how it looks, because I like when it's hard. The only problem now is I'm going to be skating on the water on the polished concrete. Fingers crossed I don't fall over and break my neck. All right, they're coming up okay, but I'm not overly happy. What you saw me using yesterday was still Dulux spray cans, but it was a Valspar mix, I think. Today's lot that came is still a Dulux can, but it's some other brand that he's moved towards because they're more modern in their mixing and their scanning, all this kind of stuff. Anyway, long story short, the color's a little bit different, but as I'm spraying it on, it's splattering, and I'm getting dots, which will end up being lumps when I put the clear coat on. So I'm not friggin' happy, but I'm not going to sand that again. It looks okay when it's matte. The clear coat will bring that up. So they're both done now. I'm just waiting for them to what they call cure a little bit. And I think one guy I watched on the tubes said, you know, lets the solvents out because you don't want it breathing underneath the clear coat. Apparently, could be wrong. That was 1 whole can just to catch up again. That leaves me only 7 cans for the truck. I'm going to need more cans. I'm not sure if I'm meant to sand between this coat and the clear. I think you can, but I'm just going to paint it and see how it looks. I don't think I'll be getting the bonnet done today. And I've got work. And I'm going away, having a little break. Do you want to come with me? Let's go. Come on, we'll go. We'll come with me on the break. Let's go. Fuck it, let's just go. All right, I'm not sure if I'm wasting this or not. Anyway, because they only last for a day or two. So if I store it somewhere dark and miserable, it shouldn't go hard. See, what you do is you pop the bottom here. There we go. Look at that. So we do press this with this little red tag, and then what happens is we get a 2-part hardener going in, or a hardener going in to make it a 2-part mixture. We shake the shit out of it, and then we clear coat. But that will go off in the can eventually. So what I need to do after today is probably turn it upside down in the lid and store it somewhere very dark and mysterious and dreary so that it doesn't go off. Off. I know I say off very weirdly to a lot of people, but that's how I say it. I've had people tell me that over the last couple of years. All right, so I've shaken that for about 2 minutes. Now I'm going to insert the red piece. Then we'll have some hardener. It's so hard. Put that on a bench somewhere hard. Solid surface. We put this on, and then we just do. So I was told that if it does this, you've got it working. So now we've got to shake it for another 2 minutes. Shaka. Stop. God, I hope this looks okay. So after reading the health warning on the clear coat, I'm definitely putting this on because it basically says it'll reach in and pull out your fucking heart and kill you. Alrighty folks, here goes. Coat number 1. Fingers crossed I can check it on the car. Okay.
Yes, before I start, I just wanted to check that the spray pattern was okay to my liking. Then you start to do long strokes across the guards, not short strokes. That will come later in the coating. And you try to keep a like 60 to 70% overlap, keeping what we call the paint wet as it lands.
Oh shit, that's toxic. Whew. Hasta la vista, poison. Don't know if that's doing anything, but after just one coat, oh my, Adam, that's looking rather fantastic. I mean, you can see a bit of sanding in that. I might get better as time goes on. That's a hell of a lot better than it was. So maybe with a second or third coat, I might just try and use the whole can up on these two, because the guards are the most prominent feature on this car because of this nice shoulder we have here. It really pops. So if we just put, maybe 3 good hard solid coats on that, cut and polish it, you're not really going to see these bits of sanding marks and things. Shh, hopefully not. We'll let that dry for a bit and then we'll come in for a second coat. Unfortunately, I ran out of clear on one guard and I had to do the whole rattle can shaker. That's the second coat on both. I'm thinking I might go a third just because it's my first attempt. Like, I think that looks pretty bloody good. Huh? Not bad for a rattle can home job. Anyway, I'm gonna let that sit again for another 30 minutes or so, and then we will come back and do the last coat and put them away somewhere safe until I get the bonnet and everything else done. All right, my camera's about to die. I hope you enjoyed that. Remember, I don't ask you to subscribe, but if you like something, share the shit out of it and just like it. That's really important. Have fun, get in the garage, and freaking learn. I don't know what I'm doing right now, but looks bloody good to me. So you do the same. See ya. Because this shit goes off, we're gonna wrap it up in a nice little blankie and we're gonna put it in the cold fridge, dark and cold for a few days, because I'm going away. We'll see you soon, bro. We'll see you in about 4 days.